So, is it me or does anybody else like that countdown song? Because I like that beat, y'all. Maybe it's just I'm a music person. But welcome to SheEO Wealth Week with yours truly, Jasmine D. Milhouse. I am a senior leader here in the SheEO district, and I am back for another phenomenal interview with y'all tonight. I missed y'all since the last time I was here. But nonetheless, welcome. You know, I like to let you know to make sure you grab you some friends, tag you somebody in the comments, let us know where you're watching from. Make sure you share this on your page, share this on your groups. Also, make sure while you're doing your sharing and your tagging, make sure you get you something to write down and to write with, because as you can see, you see the title. This is SheEO Wealth Week Live. And tonight we're going to be focusing on something that is so key and elemental in our family. We are focusing on family financial legacy. And when I introduce you all to the young lady that I'm going to be speaking with tonight, she is going to be bringing so much information, so much value, and I do not want you to miss it. I do not want you to miss any of the information that she's going to be giving. So, as I like to say, make sure you grab your pencils, your pens, your crayons, your lip liner, your eyeliner, whatever you're going to write with, and a piece of paper, some tissue, a napkin, or a paper towel, or even a t-shirt if you got one. Write down the stuff that she's going to be telling you on tonight. Welcome. Make sure you're tagging people in these comments here. Make sure you tagging someone to this live tonight, because we are talking and focusing on wealth this week. And tonight we're going to be talking about how to keep the financial legacy going within your family. That is so key and pivotal and transitioning from one generation to the next, because we have to keep the legacy going. We have to keep the finances going. We have to keep the knowledge going to our children, pass it down to their children, and before I get to preaching tonight, let me go ahead and introduce you all to who I am going to be interviewing on tonight. I am interviewing Miss Marshall Weeks. Reclaim your reclaim your name, financial services. And while I'm introducing her, I'm going to go into her bio really quickly, y'all. Miss Marshall B. Weeks is a licensed financial coach. Reclaim your last name. Marshall Weeks says her goal is to help clients rebuild their financial picture with their last name in mind, to get them to imagine their last name being synonymous with wealth based on not one, not two, but three principles of wealth. Her career background is over 15 years is in federal background investigations, over 10 years experience of budgeting and reporting. Her education, she has a certificate in project management. She is a Keller Graduate School of Management, MBA in International Business from Keller Graduate School of Management as well. And she also has a BS in Strategic Community at Old Dominion University. So without further ado, I would like for you all to see and meet Miss Marshall Weeks. Hello, Queen. How are
Hi.
you?
How are you, Jasmine?
I am doing good. I am doing good. What's going on, ladies? How you doing, Miss Promises? Thank you so much for welcoming and joining us here from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, from North Atlanta. Hey, Miss Ebony. Hey, Miss Keisha. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Make sure, again, I know I did not say this in the introductions. We are going to be having a Q&A session here. So if you have any financial literacy questions for Ms. Weeks, make sure you put them in the comments, because we are going to be getting your questions answered on tonight. All right. This is going to be about a 45-minute live for tonight. So make sure you go ahead and get your questions in. If you have any concerns or want to know any information, make sure you check in. Put your questions in the comments. All right. So, Ms. Weeks, tell us about what got you from over 15 years in federal background investigation, over 10 years in another field to now you're in financial services. What made you transition from that to where you are right now?
Well, thank you for having me. And so I'm originally from Virginia, and so that's government, federal government. The D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. I've lived all over.
DMV. Hmm.
Yes, lived all over. So, you tripping over government employees. You're either working for them directly or indirectly. It's no getting around it. So, one of my first big girl jobs, I'll say, like, my early 20s was working for a government contractor. I had to get a clearance. So the person who came to interview me, that was interesting. They came in, showed me the badge, asked me a million questions. I'm like, this is interesting. And so I ended up doing it. And just when we conduct the background investigation, there's always the piece about finances. And, you run into a lot of people who have had financial difficulty, which that's normal. It's nothing to be ashamed of. At one point of or another, people have financial difficulties. It could be a result of anything, and working for government, you have to have your financial picture. Let me put it this way. You can't be blackmailed by that financial piece, because if you're in a position where you have a lot of debt, someone can say, hey, give me all those passwords and I'll pay you this amount. So we have to make sure in all aspects of life that this person's forthcoming. They can't be blackmailed. So in seeing that, and then how did I really get interested in it? 2004 or 5, listening to the radio, I ran across a man called Dave Ramsey, and what he was talking about just really piqued my interest. And I actually used his principles to help me buy my first house. At the time, it was with my former spouse, and we used the book The Total Money Makeover. And then from there, because I was creating budgets for our household, I just started doing it for other people because it was fun. I guess you could call me a bit of a nerd. So I would, pull out Microsoft Excel, and I love inputting the formulas, and then just a beautiful spreadsheet, plugging in the numbers and just watching everything calculate. So that's just something that I would just do. And so it's just awesome where you know where your money is going. And then just from there, just growing up life, you get married and you start having kids, and then it's different, your financial picture when you're single and then you have kids. That's a game changer. So it was a combination of things, and just really me living. I mean, and then I've always liked it, and then I got the opportunity to start a business, and it allowed me to remember, because again, having a family, you kind of forget what you like, or you forget what you had a passion for. So when the opportunity came across my path, it just renewed something in me, and I just went for it. So
Oh, wow. What is something that you feel that as a community or, as family is the number one thing that keeps us from having that financial legacy?
not knowing, we don't know. When I was growing up, they told me don't get a credit card. They said save money. My mom did, even, she helped us all open up a bank account, but did anyone really like sit down at the table and explain? And so I think that's what keeps a lot of people from doing that, is that they don't know, or may be afraid to ask questions. There may be different people out here who are giving advice, and the advice may come across intimidating. They may not understand. So there's a number of ways, but it doesn't have to be hard. Once you're shown what to do, and simply starting out, you know knowing where your money is going is just like one of the first pieces.
Hmm. So, and with reclaiming your name, financial services, what is the importance of reclaiming finances for your last name or for my last name? Why is that so important?
So we want to think about, think in the future. Think about how we want to finish. One of the things I thought about earlier today is the street that I live on. What will this street look like 20, 30, 40 years from now? The people who have kids. We have the opportunity today to do something for tomorrow. And in doing so, we can, set ourselves up in a place to not only, invest, um, get out of debt, so when we get to the point where we're ready to retire, we can retire with dignity. But we also have the opportunity today to think about, where do we want to set our children up? The lessons that we learn, we should teach, so our children don't have to go through the same thing. We should not be passing down struggle. We're going to face challenges, right? But this whole struggle thing, we're wasting time. Each generation should be higher and higher, more and more. I hear people say things like, well, I had to do it. Well, I'm sorry you had to do it, but we don't want our children to do that. When you think about our ancestors, when they went to apply for the job, they had us in mind. I got to go, I got to show up, I got to be on time, I have to be professional, because they may not ever hire another Black person again, right? That's how it was. Well, we have to have that type of thinking. 3 principles: investing, which is saving our money, getting out of debt as fast as we can, and protecting the wealth that we've not yet created. If we set that up now, we can help our children. So think about this. Think about having income protection in the form of life insurance, right? Where you're protecting yourself for a certain amount of years. You get to the point where it's time to retire. You've invested, saved, you can retire with dignity. And then when it's time for you to transition, right, you leave a paid for house. Think of that house, right, for the next generation. So let's say your child wants to go to college, and let's say they want to stay here in Atlanta. We'll just use Atlanta. They want to go to Georgia State. Well, what if this home, they could stay there and not have housing, don't have to pay for housing? Let's say they decide to get married. They have a paid for home to live in. What could that do? How much money could they save to buy another house? And then their children have a paid for house. Just, that's not a big thing. And so when I think about, again, the street that I live on, what are the things that we're doing today on our street? What are we teaching our families so that 30, 40 years from now, our street still looks nice? The homes are being passed down, family to family in each generation. Is just, that's how, if we do that individually, that's how we contribute to our community. And that's how the community comes up, if we're all doing what we're supposed to do. I hope that was
Right. No, that's good.
okay.
And just like Keisha says here in the comments, each generation deserves elevation. And when you said we're no longer passing down struggle, that struck a chord, not only with me, but I'm pretty sure it struck a chord with a lot of our listeners tonight. Like, what are you leaving your children? Okay, are you planning on leaving them the same thing that you received? Are you planning on giving them the same thing that you were gifted when you turned 18, or when you turned 21, or whatever the case may be? Are you passing down that same broken knowledge, or that same untaught or unlearned knowledge from someone that was like, okay, this is what we're used to, this is what we're going to get, and we're going to be complacent and we're going to be comfortable with this? Or are we going to do different? Because it's one thing to have knowledge, but not applying the knowledge can leave your generations and your legacy stuck right there. And and it also makes you think about exactly what you just said. Look at the street that you live on. what is it going to look like in the next, not only 20 years, but 5 years, because things are changing quickly nowadays. So
Yeah.
what are you adding to, or what are you bringing to the table to make that change look a lot better than what it was when we received that change? And with your services that you provide, what is something that you can teach us on, and it can be something, just something quick, or something simple. What is something that you can teach us, that we can utilize tonight, that we can look at today or moving forward, that would be something that we can change in building our legacy?
Okay. So something simple that you could do tonight. You could look at, so one of the services I provide is helping people get out of debt, and that's a free service for clients. And you can write down your debts in order from smallest to largest. That small bill that you may be paying like a $25 monthly payment on, that you may be able to pay that off, because it's something to see it written down on paper. You may be able to pay that balance off, let's say $200. You may not want to do it because you're just thinking, oh, it's just $25, but you don't want to pay that $250 balance for the whole year or into next year. Just go on and pay it off. And then that $25 that's free, roll it into the next balance. So, for example, let's say the next credit card is $300 and you may be paying $35 on it. Well, add that 25 to the $35, and that's how you can get out of debt quicker. Because a lot of times, well, it isn't a lot of times, what messes with us is the interest that builds. So we continue to pay these minimums, and we are paying this year after year after year. You, whatever it is that you purchase, you've paid for it like 10 times. So it's getting organized. That's part of the problem, is that we don't really know what we have, and we're keeping it all up here. We need to put it on paper. The next thing I would say is, look at where you're saving your money. Look at your 401k. Is your employer matching your 401k? If your employer is not matching your 401k, you should be investing in mutual funds. Get bang for your buck. You work too hard to be getting, this little bit of interest. We help people, and I say we, I have a security specialist who helps set people up in mutual funds that total 12%. So that's when we get into the rule of 72, which means that a $10,000 one-time $10,000 fee, not fee, I'm so sorry, I'm looking at the question. A $10,000 one-time contribution of $10,000 doubles quicker than, like, let's say a 401k at 6%, or like maybe an interest checking account at 3%. And so our money doubles every 6 years. It just is, because it is. Just like what comes up must go down, it's the same thing with rule of 72. There's nothing that can destroy that. So if you get set up in mutual funds, an example of a mutual fund is a 401k. We set people up in mutual funds so that they can save their money. So by the time they reach retirement age, they can retire. And so that's one of the other things too. When I talk to clients, and I've been guilty of this in the past because I didn't know, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to retire at this age. Well, retirement is not an age, because if you get to 60, 65 and you have no money, you're going to go to work. You just going to go to work. So we have to correct this early, because if we don't, we may get to that place 55, and then that's when you really start thinking about it, even at 50, and it's like, oh no, I don't have enough money, so what am I supposed to do? So we try to catch people so we can help them invest their money. Another thing that you can do, now this, well, I would say what I just talked about, that's what you could do right now. You can do that today. The other thing that I would say would be future oriented, and that is the income protection through life insurance.
Mm.
And Oh, go ahead. Were you
No, no,
gonna?
no, 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 no.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay.
You about to
Oh,
go
okay.
dive it. Go ahead.
Okay. So we call it income protection because so how life works, and I'll use myself as an example. So I have two children, my husband and I. They are 6 and 7 years old, and I'm so thankful that they have not bust up in here because they will do it. So they are 6 and 7 years old.
I
Um,
have a 1 year old, so I
Oh,
understand.
so you understand they do not care. They
No.
don't care. It's all about them. So so we have these two little kids. Right now, our expenses are higher. Praise God, we're done with daycare. I was ready to throw a whole parade when we got rid of that daycare. No one
Yes.
told me. No one told me. And my kids are 16 months apart. So pray for us. Pray for us. So I mean, we might as well have twins. Everything is double.
It's
So
right there.
yes. So it's like, Lord, what was I saying? I got caught up in that double, man.
You was talking about income protection through life insurance.
Oh, goodness, they are all in my wallet, like all in the wallet. Anyway, we have a lot of expenses right now. So if we were to lose, let's just say, for example, if we were to lose my husband's income, we'd be in trouble. Let's just keep it real because now everything would be on me. So we have our income protection in place to kind of give us a foundation. We have at least 10 years of his income. So if he were to leave here too early, we have 10 years of his salary, opposed to not having income protection in place and you lose an income, which I experienced that in real life early on. My parents had purchased their dream home. My dad was a very successful car salesman. My mom was a teacher. He passed away in a car accident in 91. And it was all on her, 4 girls. And he had insurance on his job now, but that was not a policy, it was a certificate, and it only paid for the funeral. So my mom pretty much had to raise us off of, her salary and the social security checks, money that he had paid in. So you have to get your income and protection in place because God forbid, somebody leaves too early. You don't want your family having to sell off the house, sell off the car. I mean, it's bad enough they have to figure out how to grieve, how to live, you know, without your earthly presence. So let's not give them anything else to deal with. At least let them stay in the house, let so and so stay in soccer or do whatever the activities that they are. And then you save your family from having to circulate that GoFundMe on social media. So the income protection is just so important because it's just like your auto insurance in case of. Now, the thing about it, working with me, we're going to help you get out of debt and save money. So when you get to the other side to where, you're, thinking about going part-time or starting a business or retiring, you have money, you have the same amount or more. We want you to have more than the life insurance, the income protection that you have had. So on this end, that policy, you can renew it. We do term, you can renew it if you want, and that's the inheritance you leave. And then the other thing, if you don't mind me saying, we teach people. So let's say, again, I'll use my husband as an example, or just any spouse as an example. The spouse passes away. Let's say that spouse leaves like a $600,000 policy. We help that family. Of course, they're going to pay for the funeral, get a headstone and all of that, but we're going to help them invest that money so that when that spouse gets to, we teach them how to live off the interest of that $600,000 policy so they can pass the principal down, the kids, but the kids don't even have to touch the principal because it's steadily being invested, and then they can live off that interest. So that's how you leave a legacy. And that's, again, going back to one of your original questions, those are things that we don't know. I talked to a client and it was kind of sad because one of the things, even, you can talk to someone the nicest voice and you can have great conversation, but it's something about a person realizing, oh my goodness, I am nearing retirement. this particular client, she had experienced a spouse passing away, and she had remarried. This happened maybe 10, 15 years ago, but she spent all that money. She went shopping, she took trips, and so when she's learning these principles, we're just talking, and you could just see her body language change, because she was just like, I spent all that money, and does not have a retirement set up. So again, people say, what you don't know, can't hurt you. Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
You
So
know, I have always felt that way about this. I do not like that. What you
yeah,
don't know, something depending on the scenario, it can be detrimental to
yes,
your life and your livelihood. So, yeah, I do not believe in that statement at all.
absolutely. Yes. So, we got off our Zoom on a good note, but I kind of felt a little bad because she had not thought about any of that. The other thing, I would just like to encourage, even me included, I'm talking to myself as well, is to dream. Have let yourself have the thoughts of having more. When you put your debts and things on paper, believe God that you're debt free. Claim, I'm debt free. I pass on generational wealth. I'm leaving my family an inheritance. Don't just say, oh well, everybody has debt. They'll figure it out. No, like, it's okay to declare, you know my home will be passed down, or if you don't have a home, I will have a home that I will pass down. And I think when we allow ourselves to have those thoughts, those dreams, confess and declare, that also help the mindset. Where the mind is, your actions follow. So we have to start saying these things and thinking these things. And then, for the person who, because I've been there, that's why I'm saying this.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't want to see those debts on that paper. That'll wake you right on up. Sometimes you just don't want to see it. I have been there. It's like, no, I do not want to pull that file cabinet out. I don't even want to see, put them papers in there, hide them, throw them under the bed, right? So, but
Right.
but we have to, like, not be fearful. Give yourself grace. Things happen. Going back to, the government job, when I meet people and do their background investigation interviews, it's very intrusive. I ask a lot of questions. And you meet people whose spouses have had to have surgery and they got into debt. Your house, the roof may have, I don't know, caved in. I mean, things happen in life, and you have to give yourself grace. Forgive yourself. It's okay, because you can start over. So I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, you're good because you're speaking so much valuable information that a lot of us, including myself, need to
Mhm.
hear. When I tell you, including myself, take a look at my phone. When I tell you, I take notes.
Okay.
So everything that you were saying when I was asking, about the things that we can do,
Hmm.
starting tonight on how to start building, that financial legacy, like I'm taking notes, because it's stuff that because, I know I said I have a 1-year-old,
Uh-huh.
but I have an 18-year-old and a
Okay.
14-year-old. I have
Okay.
3 children. And,
Okay.
God played a joke on me and gave me a 1-year-old after 13 years. But, that's neither here nor there. All my children are a blessing and I love them all.
Yes.
But, you
Right.
know, for for building, the
Uh-huh.
legacy, my daughter, she's 18. She's about to be in college,
Okay.
well, leaving home to go to actual physical college. She's already there now, but it's like, okay, we're gonna have to start paying for tuition and room and board and the stuff that you were just speaking about. And it's like, are you really prepared financially to take on more bills? Because in my opinion, that's taking on bills. You know
Hmm.
what I
Hmm.
mean? So, and
I
it's like,
do.
are you in the position to be able to sustain the extra that you're going to have to pay for, the extra that you're going to have to be responsible for? Because, just say, if your daughter or your son goes to college and they don't have scholarships, and things like that, that money has to come out of pocket. And
Hmm.
you
It
want to
does.
make sure that you can financially withstand, crush your home and not crush, your finance. So you just have to put that into perspective and think about, like, now that going forward, what are you going to knowledge that you have, or you want to make sure putting forth effort position. Am I frozen?
I
Because
think you're
I'm
going in and
freezing. Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, I can still hear you. You're going in and out a little bit, but I could still hear what you were saying. It would just be like a little glitch. But you're good now.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay,
You're good.
okay, perfect. All right. So, okay, yep. See, she just said I was going in and out. You can hear me then. All right,
You're back now.
let's
Yeah,
keep
I
it
can
going.
hear you.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect, perfect. So, with with the strategies, and the tips that you just shared that we can start implementing tonight, how does someone contact you, for your services? What are the services that you offer, in your organization?
Okay, so we help people get out of debt. So that's again something that I would do for free. What we're going to do is we're going to look at what you have as far as debt, income, mortgage. We're going to, ask about how much money would you like to pay for kids' college? What would you like to leave a spouse? We're going to get your income protection in place because a lot of people only have insurance on the job, and that's awesome. But I have endless stories about people who have only had the life insurance on the job, and because they can't see that policy, they didn't always pay, or it wasn't enough, or it was just accidental and not
Mm.
what you would have if you owned your own. So we're going to figure all of that out, and then we're going to do your financial analysis, which that's the part that I love because it spits out all these graphs and charts, and we get to see how many years it takes to save a certain amount of money. Like, it's the coolest thing. And we get to send that to you because I think it matters for you to see it. You need to see it. So we do that, and that's pretty much what we do. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. And it's just sitting down and talking to a person. And we do it via Zoom. During the pandemic, you have to adjust. So I meet with people via Zoom. You can contact me. Should I give my phone number, social media? Um,
Whichever you would
okay.
like,
So
if
my
you, yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So sure. I mean, you can call me 678-237-9014. Uh, Call, text, and then I have a business page on Facebook, which is, and I pulled it up so I wouldn't say the name backwards. It's bear with me one second.
Mhm.
It's called Legacy Builders on the Facebook page, the business page, Legacy Builders. But if you type in at Financial Future Builders, you can pull that up. I am on Clubhouse as well, Coach Money Mars. And Instagram is the same, Legacy Builders, Financial Future Builders, and that's just where we, put out little things. But yeah, feel free. My email address is justmars77 at iCloud. So yeah, email, text, call, and we can talk and set up a time, to talk face to face via Zoom, and we can just see what you have going on. You have to start somewhere, and having the conversation. Sometimes the conversations are hard to have because, again, it's hard to look at, especially for those of us who like to keep things up here. it may seem overwhelming, but I help you to simplify it. Because
Okay.
again, yeah, once it's written down, you need to get it out of here. I think when it stays up here, you're kind of paralyzed. So let's get it on paper, and then we can develop like an action plan. And what are these little things that we can do, day at a time, step by step, and get you on the way to having the best financial picture you can have and reclaim your last name, because we can be the spoon. One of my business partners said that, be the spoon. When people talk about oh, they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, we have to stop making that look negative. That parent did good by that child. That's how we have to start. And I've been
Right.
guilty of it. We repeat what we hear. I mean, I've heard people say that we want them to we want to be the spoon, but we're going to teach them how to have the right character, and we're going to teach them what to do with it so they can be the spoon. And that, to me, when you want to really think big, that's how you make your community a better place. That's how you make the world a better place. I mean, it has to start somewhere, and we can just start here with the family. And in each level, it's all about what we do. And I don't want to like get on a soapbox or anything, but I think about that, how the little things that we do, raising our kids, and teaching them character and mindset. We are all making our contribution to society, so we should never think that we're not doing anything, or we don't matter. We all have a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. And it's like the little things you do. I don't even care if it's reading a book to your child at night, cooking them dinner, sitting down watching a movie. You're sowing seeds. And these seeds are going to be taken, they're going to take that with them, and they're going to sow seeds. So we're all an important piece of this chain in life. And it sounds so pie in the sky, rainbows and glitter, but it's just, you just start out so small, the simple things. And the money game, we gotta teach our kids the money game. We have to do it, and we can simplify it. We don't have to sit and get heavy into stocks and stuff, because I think that's when people are like, oh God, that's just too much. Get out of debt so you can save. Protect the wealth that you've not yet created. That's it.
Hmm.
That's it.
I can't think of another way, as we're bringing this to a close. One thing that I want to share with you is I see the passion that you have inside of you to help people and to serve and show them how to reclaim, do exactly what your slogan says, reclaim your name, reclaim your last name. And it is so evident, and it's just seeing you light up and talk about how you help people, in the lives that you transform and the services that you offer. It is so amazing. And just to put your business out there, if y'all didn't know, this is the first time that Miss Weeks has been interviewed. Okay. And I want to thank you for just lending us your time and lending us your knowledge, lending us your tips, on how we can start just even taking the smallest step to get on the right track, to making sure that we can be the spoon that they talking about. Because I've I want to, when you said it, I'm like, okay, I want to be a spoon too.
Right.
You like,
Me
I want to be a spoon. You hear it, but it's like, okay, and I was like, I've always, you always hear that, especially when you come from a low income community, or from the country, or whatever the case may be. Oh, she grew up, she thinks she better than everybody, or they got, they family got money, or whatever the case may be. It's made to be such a negative thing,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's not negative to have money.
At
It is
all.
not negative to have trust me, it's not negative to have it. It's negative to make that the love and, to go after as like that's
Right.
your God.
Right.
That's when it becomes negative and money becomes something different. But when you have money, it makes a lot of things in your life operate a whole lot
Yes, it
easier,
does.
and it
Hmm.
causes you to have a clearer mind. Because I've always heard people say you can't think about you know um being happy or thinking about changing yourself when you're struggling to pay the light bill, or you're struggling to feed your kids, and you're struggling to keep a roof over their heads. You cannot think about the happy things of life, or the positive things of life, when you're struggling financially. It makes stuff so much harder with you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So having the financial legacy to build yourself and also your family is very important, and is very vital for you to change the trajectory of what your family has already bestowed upon you and what you're used to seeing. So let's start tonight with being the change. And as Miss Weeks said, let's start, taking those steps to becoming the spoon, so we can change what we feed our children, how we serve our children, and how we elevate our children to do better, to have better, and to become better, to keep doing that in our in financial legacy. So thank you so much for
You.
sharing with us tonight. Thank you so much for giving us, your contact information. Make sure you follow Miss Weeks here on social media. Make sure you reach out to her, contact her, and get with her services. She also said that she offer showing you how to get out of debt for 100% absolutely free. So if you don't do anything else, start there and then build it from there. So are there any closing remarks that you have tonight? And once you do your closing remarks, I will pray us out for tonight.
Well, just thank you again. I really love SheEO, such great information. So I'm always happy to be a part and to share. And just, you know, be encouraged. 2020 was rough. It opened our eyes. And we just have to, we can start where you are, and it'll get better. It'll get better. That's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I'm gonna go ahead and pray us out. So if you're listening, tuning in, please bow your head. So if you want to sit there, that's fine. But Father God, we thank you so much for allowing us to come to you again and to fellowship with one another. We thank you so much for giving us the clarity of mind to be able to share and be a servant of your people. God, we thank you so much for Miss Marshall Weeks, for allowing her to give us her time and to be a server of your people, and giving her the knowledge and the understanding and the wisdom in order to bestow it upon us as well. God, we thank you so much for the SheEO district community. We ask that you continue to bless us and flourish this community in the way that you would have it to go. God, we thank you so much for binding the hands of the enemy and protecting us from anything that is not like you. God, we thank you so much for giving the vision to our founder, Miss Kelly Bowens. We thank you so much for the leaderboard, and we thank you so much for everything that is transpiring here in the SheEO district. We thank you for allowing us to be the women's community for your people, oh God. And these are the prayers that we say in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen. You all go in peace. Thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight. I am yours truly, Jasmine D. Milhouse, a senior leader here in the SheEO district and also the director of the SheEO marketplace. This has been another live for Wealth Week. We look forward to seeing you back here on tomorrow night for another interview for Wealth Week. You all enjoy the rest of your night. Good night, everybody.
Right.